Welcome back aboard Blurred Force One with your boy Mo, and this is the Supercast. The Supercast, where we talk about all things superhero in our pop culture media. That's movies, TV shows, video games. We talk about news, do some speculation, all of that good and nerdy stuff. And before we get into this podcast today, you know what to do. Get down there and hit like on the video. So, you know what? We're kind of in a bit of a lull. You know, it's a calm time on the seas, but we're getting ready to ramp up towards Iron Fist in about 4 weeks from now, and then the superhero summer really gets going. But in the meantime, we got plenty of stuff to talk about. And of course, I'm not going to do it by myself. Returning to the podcast triumphantly, it is our good friend Polly of Co-Mixed. Happy to see you. How you doing today?
I'm doing great. Well, actually, most of the time doing great, but this week especially, pretty good week.
Yeah, I see you're a little more moved into the new place.
Yes, and since I finally got a comfortable chair,
Right.
finally got all my stuff together, so soon I'm gonna set it all up, get myself some cool geek corner, and that's
But you're not going to get one of the generic podcaster racer chairs like I.
Oh hell no. I was looking into it, but I decided to go with the classic.
No, and actually, I wanted, and what I want is because I have a recliner, or I got one downstairs.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to have an actual recliner, but like you can't sit at a desk and have a recliner also. So the trade off is I have to have this generic ass chair that everybody has. But one day maybe I'll break out of the mold and I'll do something different. Like there's this one dude I see online sometimes, and he literally just live streams from a recliner. I'm like, you figured this out.
There are these setups, I think it's gaming setups, like huge chair that you can lie down on, and it has like everything for your computer. Those are weird to me.
You want to be like in Wall-E. Yeah. You like remember in Wall-E where they're just like this, and they're just everything is right there. Let that.
Yeah, exactly. Like, why would you ever leave this chair? I don't think that that's good for me.
Yeah, I know, not for me either. You've been up to anything nerdy this week?
Oh yeah. First of all, I have started and finished watching Andor, and it was amazing. Season 2, I actually liked it a lot more than season 1. I think I don't know why it was. It was very emotional. It was very good, and immediately after, of course, we watched Rogue One, and there's a poster behind me.
Nice.
Yeah, it does. It's quite a different experience. It's still a fantastic movie. It's just a different experience that's deeper now. And of course, I played some Marvel Rivals this week. Got MVP twice yesterday. Well, in quick play, but still, I still take pride in it.
Hey, take your wins.
Yeah, I gotta take my wins where I can. So yeah, killed some reeds. Yeah, it's always pleasant, always enjoyable, and unpacked some of my statues, which I will set them up. I will take photos. Everything is coming soon. So yeah, and I don't know if I read anything I did read the new comics, yes, like the One World Under Doom, of course. New Storm that everybody, like a lot of people tagged me.
Right.
This screenshot from the latest Storm issue where it says that Reed is happily married, and again, disagree. Well, he might be happily married, Sue isn't. Yeah, and so I read that, and some other stuff, like some of the new issues.
So just One World Under Doom, by the way, sounds so interesting, and like I I think Marvel Unlimited is behind, so it's probably not
Hmm.
out on it yet. So, but probably towards the end of the year. I think I'm gonna try to check it out. There seems like you need to have read a few things to lead up to it because some other events apparently reflect on why Doom gets to do what he's doing. But it looks cool. I'm very interested. Um, this, by the
I think
way,
it's mostly Blood Hunt.
oh yeah, that's the one I was
Yeah.
thinking. Like I need to see because that was a big crossover thing for everybody in the Marvel
It was a
universe.
crossover. I don't remember.
Was
I don't know if there are big crossovers. I don't remember any like really really huge crossovers like after Secret Wars maybe.
right. Is by the way, is One World Under Doom, is it being reflected in across the titles, or are some of the titles
Yeah,
like so every like the Storm comic that's going on
it's kind of yeah.
reflects that
It
Doom?
reflects across all titles, and mostly it's just everything is the same, but Doom is in charge. So,
Yeah,
and
he's
they just kind of
apparently
like
yeah,
there are groups that are against it, and of course, like Avengers, of course, Reed,
yeah.
of course, Jesus, and X-Men, they barely care. It
Yeah.
doesn't seem like they
Yeah, to
care.
me, I
So
was wondering if Doom solved the mutant problem. Like, if anyone's gonna solve the mutant problem, I feel like Doom would be it. And he's too egocentric to be like just kill them all, because that would be admitting that
yeah,
he doesn't know how to
no,
he doesn't know how to actually fix the problem. So I don't think kill them
I think
all is a real
he
thing for
mostly
him.
focused on vampire problems. So there is a vampire problem, which means like who cares? Like mutants,
Yeah,
come on. I don't think that they have as many problems under Doom as they used to have under other leaders. So
right.
mm, they
It's
probably
interesting.
vote for him.
This actually segues into what I was doing nerdy this week. Since we're talking about comics, I read comic books. I'd actually for real.
Why?
I read look, it's because I've had Marvel Unlimited since basically December,
Mm.
like when they had that $50 for the year, the annual thing, and I barely use it just because I'm not in the habit of spending a lot of time reading. But I don't remember why, but for some reason I was like, I've been reading through some things, and then I was like, let me do some mutant stuff because I've been doing Daredevil and like Black Panther. So I was like, let me do some mutant stuff, and I was like, let me hit up this Jonathan Hickman, the world changing event because
House of
apparently.
X.
So
Yep.
yeah, so I
Just
read so
found the hardcover today.
that's I mean I read the House of X, Powers of X, the compendium they
Of
have
10.
is it 10? Is it just says
Yeah,
X?
it's
So
of 10.
okay,
Yeah.
so that thing. Uh, so they had the compendium on Marvel Unlimited. So I was like, let me read through it. That was huge. What? Holy crap, that was a lot to read. And Hickman, for some reason, he's weird in this way, in that he has very dense stories, like in the way that Stan Lee used to like put a lot of crap into like 20 pages. He would do the same, but like in less panels. So there's like a lot of story going on. There's a lot of things going on in that. It's a very like it is not entry level X-Men. Like you if you were like
Yeah.
if someone said, "Hey, where should I start?" and if somebody said House of X,
No.
they don't want you to watch. They don't want you to read any more comic books because
I,
like
I
it's too
thought it
much.
would be a good I thought it would be a good jumping point. And by the way, now I started thinking, and I don't remember whether it's Powers of 10 or Powers of X. I think it's Powers of 10, but I remember that there was like 10 of Swords.
Yeah,
But now I'm confused. I don't remember.
it's
Anyway,
if you say X,
I
I'm just saying X.
yeah, who cares? But I do remember that I thought, and everybody was like so excited because it's a reboot of sorts, and everybody was so excited that it would be a good jumping point for everyone who wants to start reading about mutants. But it wasn't. No,
No,
it
it's
was
not a
not.
good
It
job.
was.
It requires you to know so much about the X-Men. Like your enjoyment of this whole kickoff event is entirely related to how much you know about the X-Men already. If you know a lot about it,
Yeah.
this is just like deep in it. It's like it just really deepens. Like you just watch Andor. It's just like if Andor really makes Rogue One a much more significant movie than it was, even though it was all about you know what the movie's about. It's about the Death Star plan and all that stuff. but you learn a lot more. This House of X is like, hey, all that shit you've been seeing, you've been reading over the decades. Well, here's what's really going on. And then there's all this like crazy, like super science and like there's some existential stuff. It's very very involved. So yeah, it's not for new
Yeah,
people.
but at the same time, I think it suffers from Hickman's favorite issue of rewriting the whole structure of the whole universe.
Mm-hmm. Which is
He's trying to do this every time, and then it goes away, and everybody else just trying to ignore it.
I do have
Because,
to.
like, what do you do with the Arakan mutants now?
I think
Nobody wants to write about them.
I think what I it was kind of like the Inhumans, like they were on the they're on the moon and every now and then. But like I look at it as, and I by the way I enjoyed it. It's very heady. That's the thing is that like it is like
Yeah.
it really it's cool. I'm a sci-fi fan anyway, so very sci-fi. And I liked it enough that I was like, let me read the Dawn of X, that era of, and so I started on those two. So far, I've only read the first issues of all, but one of the, and I'm gonna say of all of them, this might hurt your heart. I thought New Mutants #1 was the weakest out of the ones I've read so far. Um,
Honestly, I remember when I was reading them, like as they were released, and they quickly kind of lost their way for me because it seems like the idea was good, but then all these different voices started coming in, and everybody was trying to do their own thing, and everybody's trying to follow like what's going on. Mm, and then they uh, did launch like several events like Ten of Swords,
yeah,
which was pretty weak.
here's the thing. I'm committed to following my way through to the end of the Krakoan age. I know that's a lot. I think that isn't that like 2 or 3 years worth of stories.
Yeah, but
It
that's not a lot. It's not like
well to me
it's not 60
me
years.
well to me who doesn't read them comics all that often, this is a lot. So like, but I powered through that, how the House of X, the compilation. I'm gonna power through. I just want to get to the end of the Krakoan age so I can be ready for all of the stuff that's going on like right now. I really want to get to one world under Doom. That's like that to me. That's interesting, but I want to get there and know what the fuck's going on. So I know it's gonna
For
be
that,
hard.
I think for that it also would be useful to read the Fantastic Four,
Yeah,
at least the newest one.
yeah.
Uh
So that
when they try to like make Reed look presentable.
oh well, you're gonna get that with Fantastic Four in July. So, but the other thing, what's the other thing I did? I was trying to catch up on the Ianu. I'm still behind. I think the season finale is this week. I'm caught up on the anime from Old Country Bumpkin to Master Swordsman. I'm caught up on that. It's still really good. I really like that show. Um, Caught up on Lazarus. That's a I think the problem I have with Lazarus, it's fun and interesting, and actually it has some really cool action sequences. If you like Cowboy Bebop, you're gonna get more, the cool fight sequences that Spike would have. You get plenty of that. One of the main characters, he does like G Kundo slash parkour stuff. He's really cool. But it's just a bit meandering. For this is this is a time clock show where you're saying in 30 days people are going to start dying, or there's going to be mass casualties. Like people are just going to start dropping dead in 30 days. So we got to find this guy so we can get the cure, right? And they're sitting up here having barbecues and just kind of chill. Like I'm like, where's the sense of urgency? Y'all can't just be having slice of life in the middle of a fucking emergency. This is in 30 days people go. Now y'all got 17 days to go. You need to find this guy. What are you doing? It's like on the latest episode, they literally were just doing a cookout and just to have a big joke or something like that about a flamethrower. And I'm like, who got time for this? Yeah, I mean,
Who doesn't? Look around.
because I mean, like, it's wild. Like y'all have literally people, billions of people are potentially gonna die, right? And you're just like, you know what? Let's barbecue real quick. No, go find this motherfucker. That's all I'm saying.
Well, I
Anyway,
don't know. I think that it's perfect. Like, what's better time to barbecue?
it's crazy. Like the sense of urgency is wild in that, but it's a cool looking show. I like it. And
We all might die anyway. Why not have fun?
it's no. What's really weird in the show is that people are still worried about money, and there's people like, we need profits and all. There's all these. They're just going about their lives as if there ain't nothing about to happen. Like, look, it's not like this is a crisis that's 2 or 3, 4 or 5 years down the road. I can believe people would kick the can and try to act like things are normal. It's literally in a month, this shit's gonna start going down. The first people that took this drug are gonna start dying. You don't think that that's something that should require you to, I don't know, marshal all of your fucking resources in the world, every government, because this is a drug that is ubiquitous around the globe. It's been in the black market, so even in places where they don't import it, you can still get it. You would think that
the question is, did I take it? If I did take it, yeah, I'd be worried. But if I didn't take it, I wouldn't be worried.
I'm telling you, in this near future world, damn near everybody on Earth is taking this drug at one time.
Yeah, but why?
Yeah, and if you've only taken it once, you're on the hook. So you get what I'm saying? Like, every government across the world should be on a manhunt for this motherfucker, because if they're not, you don't. I mean, it's crazy. That's one of the biggest, most glaring holes in this whole story. Otherwise, it's a fun story. I like it. It's just like that shit pokes me out in my head every time I watch the episodes. Like, you guys don't care enough about this situation. Like, for real. Like, there was more intensity trying to find Bin Laden than there is to find this dude. And this dude is gonna kill way more people. So anyway, it's cool. Check it out. It's on Max if you want to. Last thing, I got nerding on a budget. It's been pretty dry lately. I've been coming up empty, and most of my nerding on a budget. But I did find a cool thing on Amazon. I wanted to show it to you. You don't know this because you don't watch The Boys, but I
do. Excuse me.
You do not watch The Boys. Didn't you tell me you haven't seen it?
No, I watched it.
Did you finally watch The Boys?
I watched it when it was released. Like, every season, I watched it.
I thought, wait,
and I watched the Gen V.
Oh,
I didn't watch something else.
Okay. I think I'm getting you confused with somebody else that said they never watched it, because I was like, how did you make it this far as a nerd and not watch? Anyway, you watched The Boys, so you know who this is. Then you know who she is. I found this for like $5.50 on Amazon, so I had to have it. This is the only Boys pop I have, because I wasn't really intending on collecting them, but I mean, it's Sage. I got to have her.
Hey, if you find it,
I wish I knew who she's supposed to represent in real life, but man, I love that. That's really cool. So that's my only one. I think it might still be $5.50 on Amazon if you want to check it out. Better get these cheap ass toys while you can, because them tariffs in America are about to kick us in the butt. Like, so hard. I saw people complaining. They're like, man, I think I might have to stop collecting toys because, the tariff markup is wild. I'm like, yep. I guess we just gonna have to.
Wait, don't you like? I know that like everything that comes here comes from the US, like the geek stuff. Most of it comes from the US, so yeah, it affects the price.
Y'all are gonna get you will get a downstream effect, because the American, whoever you're getting it from, they get it from China. So, like, or Vietnam or wherever so the cost is definitely going to be passed on to you. If you thought it was expensive now, just wait. Just wait until the tariffs are really kicking in. So, yay, Trump. It's fine. I'll go. I have a pretty good collection. I probably could stop. It'll be fine. We'll see. I really want you to talk to me about it in December. That's when I'll know for sure how bad it is. So anyway, that's all. That's all of our nerdy stuff for this week. Anyway, let's get into actually talking about what the Supercast for, which is talking about superhero news in the media. So we got a good little bit of stuff even in this off week. So first, Viola Davis wants to join the MCU. Who could she be playing, or who would you like to see her play? A Supergirl
Or
woman
would
up.
you even like to her to join?
Well, we'll get to that. Supergirl woman up tomorrow wraps filming, but Millie Alcock she's being a little cagey about where she might be showing up next in the DCU. We got a rumor about Visionquest and a potential character that's going to show up in that show. We also have a rumor about the Spider-Man Brand New Day. Who are the villains that could potentially show up? Then the co-creator of Riri Williams, has some kind of sharp things to say about Marvel. That hey, we've talked about on this show before, and I want to get back into it again about can Marvel be better about their creators. We get a first look at Galactus, courtesy of some, I think they're toys or something like that. But it's pretty cool. We want to see what that's all about. And then finally, we're going to talk about Thunderbolts and its less than stellar box office returns. What does this mean for the MCU, for superhero movies in particular? What is this saying about us as an audience? So we got a good amount of stuff to talk about. You ready to go?
Yep.
All right. Well, let's jump into this. So, Viola Davis. Look, I don't know if you remember probably a month or so ago, Timothée Chalamet he won like an acting award. I forget what it was, but in the award, he shouted out Viola Davis. He said I'm trying to be better. I'm trying to ascend to greatness. And Viola Davis is one of my inspirations. I'm aiming for that level of excellence, which dope, giving flowers to somebody who's been in the game for a while, has been kind of killing the game. When she shows up, she shows out, as they say. I particularly we love her as Amanda Waller, right? I think she's a great Amanda Waller. I also really liked her in The Woman King, but she's been in not Scandal, How to Get Away with Murder. There's
How
like
together, yeah.
she's been in a lot of things, and she's really great. What's the one she did with Chadwick Boseman, his last movie, Ma Rainey's Black
Uh,
Bottom? Yeah.
yeah.
So like, I mean, she's a goat in my opinion. She's one of the best that's acting,
Mm.
that's at it. Love that. But I also found out that she loves the MCU. She said she's seen the movies like 4 or 5 times with her daughter. So shout out to her daughter for like dragging her mom
Oh yeah.
along into that. We'll make a geek out of her. Eventually. But it's really cool that she said she would love. She said I would love to be in the MCU. That'd be great. To which I say, Kevin Feige, how the hell you ain't called this woman already? Like this is a no brainer. Like. Anyway, I have more to say, but what do you think? She wants to be in the MCU. What do you think?
Obviously, yes. The question is who she wants to play, or like if there obviously is a role for her. Definitely, there is no question about it. Although I know that what MCU does to these actors, like most of these established actors, they cast them in pretty small roles, usually a villain or like some kind of a government official. They do that. They do that a lot. So I would like probably in this case for it to be different. So it wouldn't be like a mentor character or a government official or something else that they've already done. So yeah.
Okay, so obviously I want this to happen. Look, more on-screen talent, better. Also, get that big paycheck because that MCU money is good. Um, but the question is again, character. Who should she be? So my question when I asked about my first instinct is who are all the black women in the Marvel universe? And let me just say, I realized I was like, how many black X-Men, female X-Men are there? Not a lot. Not a lot of named ones. Um, and I think X-Men is actually a good way to go with casting her, just because X-Men is about to blow up in the MCU in the next few years. They're about to get really serious about it. So why not throw her as in there as a mutant? But there's all sorts of ways you could go with that. We haven't seen the Shi'ar properly in the MCU. She could be Deathbird.
Yeah.
She could be Lilandra, which would. And also the other thing I'd be thinking about when I would think about these things is what would piss off the Chuds the most. That's like what would really make them angry.
If she were Magneto.
Yeah.
Or Charles.
If they gender bent and race swapped either of them, Critical Drinker would go on a binge that would ruin.
Finally, drink themselves to oblivion.
No, I mean it would be like I don't mind the gender banding because to be quite honest, there's a lot of dudes in the comics. There's just like a lot of them. So I mean gender band, but like I would be cool with her as Deathbird or Lilandra. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
And
besides this regal presence,
and they would be like, well, why would they make them white? I'm like, they're aliens, right? They're not really white.
They're birds.
And they're birds. They're fucking birds. So, like, shut the hell up.
Of course they're gonna be peace. Also, like, in general, Shi'ar is one of my favorite alien races, and I really, really always wanted to see what they would look like in live action, because with all the feathers and stuff, you can do so much in terms of visual design.
Yeah,
exciting.
I think that would be cool if you actually had to have her as a terrestrial, hero or villain or something like that. I mean, there's a good like she could be Madame Mask. She could be we already have Titania, so it can't really be Titania. On the X-Men side, I mean, it would be funny if she were. It would be funny just because again, it would explode heads. But if she were the White Queen, like how many people would be so mad about that. Because Emma Frost is like their little Fox News, bleach blonde that everyone she's. Here's my thing is that's doing a disservice. That's doing a disservice to Emma Frost. Emma Frost is a dope ass character. Yeah. She's smart as shit. Yeah. She's commanding, all that other. She is not just some like bleach blonde like airhead or whatever. Nah, she is. Like,
even though she is.
She knows she's hot, but like being hot is not her power. Her power is way more than like she's smarter than 90% of the people in any fucking room. She's smarter and more calculating, and she can read your damn mind. Like, no, Emma Frost is dope. Like, I'm never taking anything away from her. I just think it would be funny if she were Viola Davis, because man, that would make some people mad. Woo, they would be like, you think they were mad? You think they were mad about having Rachel Zegler be Snow White? Ooh. And Rachel Zegler white as hell. She's just not white enough to them. Boy, they would. If the literal White Queen were a black woman,
the thing is that White Queen is more of a title.
Yeah,
you can be White Queen of Hellfire Club without actually being Emma Frost.
Yeah, but if they called her the Black Queen, I bet they would be fine with it. Probably not, because the Black Queen isn't she usually Madeline Pryor? Isn't the Black Queen?
Yeah, it used to be Madeline Pryor. I think Sage was somebody else.
I'm sure there's been other people, but like, yeah. I think, either way, I would love
even Jean. I think even Jean was at some point.
Oh man, because I'm trying to think if there's because she's not going to play the younger version of anybody. So I was trying to think if there was maybe some older versions of.
It depends. It depends on what era of the X-Men they would take. To me personally, I always wanted them to go with the older original team and New Mutants, because that's exciting and that's interesting and that's fun. But I'm pretty sure they like. What are they gonna do? Are they gonna go with the like first class or something with the original five, and then the giant size X-Men? I don't know what they're gonna
Well,
do.
could she be Callisto? Maybe she could be Callisto.
Could be.
I this will one that will really make him mad. It's always I'm a troll by nature, so I'm just thinking this will really make them mad on several levels. If she were Moira McTaggart, oh, that would piss them. They would be mad. Woo!
I like that.
She
I
would.
like that.
They would be so mad. She black and she Scottish and black. So they were. Marvel, don't listen to me, but also please do that. I would.
But also, are they gonna go with the classic Moira or the Hickman Moira? Because two different characters entirely.
Feige really likes Hickman. You can tell. Feige. I'm just saying. You can tell in the MCU that Feige likes Hickman. There are aspects of Hickman's various comics in the MCU already.
Yeah,
I have a feeling that the Fantastic Four is going to take more than a little from his run on Fantastic Four. But Secret Wars,
we'll see.
Secret Wars is entirely Hickman's doing. So I think that
but I don't think we're gonna see all those ellipses and stuff and things, and it's not gonna be. It has to be way less complicated because again, Hickman, general audience. Those don't mean.
right.
You can't just adapt something from Hickman and expect people to, well, enjoy it probably because it's going to be very, very difficult to navigate through that. So many layers.
If they do Moira, I think they're going to incorporate aspects of the whole House of X, incarnation of her and her power.
Oh. But that is not going to be easy because that's one superpower that doesn't make sense. No matter how you try to fix it, no matter how you try to adapt it,
think about it this way.
It doesn't work.
Think about it this way. Because we're in the multiverse saga, she has a multiverse power. It's her multiverse power, and America Chavez has a multiverse related power, right? So in a way, you could incorporate Moira McTaggart into the story of the multiverse saga and make it make sense because we're already making people understand multiple realities anyway. But I mean,
be really careful with that. But the idea is very interesting. Yeah.
So we'll see. I like the idea of Viola Davis. I love her as an actor. So Feige, get her on the. In fact, she's basically saying, "Hey, I'm available to work. Call me up." So let's make it
sitting by the phone here.
I mean,
hello.
She's like, I'll be Blade if you want me to, but.
Oh, wait a second.
No, we ain't gonna. We ain't gonna do that. We ain't gonna do that.
Yeah, because Disney's ain't gonna do Blade.
Yeah, we are not playing. We are not playing that game at all. So either way, we'll keep an eye on this, and we'll let you know if we get any information about it. So, Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. I'm highly anticipating that. James Gunn has talked it up way too much that I can't be excited for it. And I really quite like the actor that they got to play Supergirl, Millie Alcock, who she's Australian, but she put on a really good, British accent so that she could play, what was her name? Something Targaryen. I can't remember her name, but from House of Dragon.
Oh.
I forget the name, but yeah, she was in House of Dragon. Really, really good playing a young version of a character. And I was really excited when she got cast. So that recently they wrapped filming on it, which is dope. Which means, of course, it's on track to be here for next summer's release. But she was promoting another movie, and they asked her about the rumors that she is going to make a cameo in Superman, and she was like, "Oh, I can't really, I can't say any of this stuff. I don't want to get sued in the NDAs and all this other stuff." So she didn't confirm or deny that she might be showing up in Superman, which is already a stacked ass cat. There's so many people in Superman already. Um, and I hear people saying like, well, maybe Crypto isn't really his dog. Maybe it's Kara's dog, and he's just keeping him, while he's gone. There's all these rumors floating about. The point here is there's two things. One, yay, it finished filming. So I'm really excited for that. But two, do you think she's going to show up in this? What do you think?
I have no idea. And knowing that, like, usually this answer means yeah, probably. But I don't know. There is so much going on in that movie in Superman, and we already, we have seen, I don't know, half a dozen people who's supposed to show up. So would it make sense? Probably, yeah. At some point, like in a small cameo. I don't know. Would I want it to happen? Sure, yeah.
Yeah, now
But I wouldn't be disappointed if it didn't.
Yeah, I agree. I think if we go by MCU logic, if we go by the way the MCU operates, she's not going to be in this movie. I don't think so. There's too much happening right now. And I'll give James Gunn this. He does know how to juggle a bunch of characters and make it make sense, and they don't get in each other's way. They don't step on each other's toes. He can make it work. So I'm not afraid of that. Adding Supergirl does not make this story better. This is a Superman story, right? It doesn't make the story better, except showing, hey, he's not the only one, right? But I do think she cameos in this, not as in a credit scene. I think the most sensible thing to do is, if you follow MCU logic, is cameo her at the end of the movie after the credits roll, mid credits or post credit scene. People are already conditioned to stay to see what happens after the credits anyway, right? Have her show up. You're teeing off the very next movie. Because the things that are coming straight out of this is Superman, Peacemaker season 2, right? They're already teeing up, Rick Flag Sr. from Superman to get you to Peacemaker, right? So the other, so they're handing the baton to him. But it'd be smart to be like, hey, here's Supergirl too, and she's coming next year. Somehow either they're talking or she shows up or something like that. So that, to me, if I think that she does cameo, I just don't think it's in the main story. I think it's just as a post credit. And hey, I'm all for that. Let's go. This is a cinematic universe, damn it. They gotta lay breadcrumbs. They can't just be like, well, come back next year for somebody you don't really know.
Technically, it does look like they're trying to avoid the criticism that Marvel often had with something big is happening. Where is everyone? Why is nobody showing up? So you got something big happening in Superman. Everybody shows up.
Mm-hmm. That is a fair. I think actually, I hope they start addressing the fact that, hey, so and so can't just show up. In the comics, the conceit is they were busy doing other shit. They're not just waiting around. Like they're busy. Spider-Man was doing stuff. He was across town. He didn't. This all happened in like the span of an hour. He's not gonna get over there when he's in the middle of other things, I think. But it's harder to make sense when you're in New York. It's harder to make sense of that than it is if you're like,
and they're all in New York. So and DC characters are all in different cities. So that makes sense.
The Avengers are always
Batman's always busy.
Yeah, the Avengers are always off world. And that's what.
Yeah,
they're not. They're off.
Whenever you need them, they'll be off world. Best superheroes ever. You can always rely on them.
The Avengers are off world. They ain't got time for this right now. All right, what about the West Coast Avengers? Off world also.
Well, they are off world, but from the West Coast.
Yeah, but what about Great Lakes Avengers? Do you really? Do you
Awful.
really? Do you really want the Great Lakes Avengers? Do you want them? Pretty sure they're not going to help.
X-Men, none of their business. They don't care.
Yeah, X-Men are they're busy fighting.
They're like, where were you when we were getting killed? So no, they're not helping. Maybe Daredevil, I don't know.
And Daredevil's just like, that's Adam. I can't fight no kaiju. Look, I got a billy club and enhanced senses. That's not gonna help.
Also, I have to be at work.
I'm sitting this one out. No, y'all got that one. I'm good. Now, why ain't y'all call Spider-Man? I'm literally the last person you should be calling. Yeah,
and Spider-Man is
you got some ninjas. You got some ninjas. Call me. If it's anything above ninjas, you don't need me. Trust me. I'm not the guy for you. Anyway. All right. So look, I'm betting on a cameo, but we'll see. Let you guys know. Superman's coming out in like a couple months, so we're almost there, y'all. We're almost there. So
excited.
Speaking of let's do a quick rumor about Visionquest, which is let me just say, I love the Vision. I think Paul Bettany's great as the Vision. I'm glad that he's getting a TV show. And it's being, by the way, it has a real showrunner. Not like, this isn't like a movie that's being cut up. It says an actual TV show. Good to hear that. The showrunner of Picard season 3 is the showrunner of this, which isn't a great. That's not. I like the guy, and he knows Star Trek and all that stuff. I did not love Picard season 3, but it's okay, fine. They have a real showrunner, but this is going to be about Vision. It's a Vision centric one, the white Vision that we saw from WandaVision. I hope that it takes some cues from like a Vision story about 10 or 15 years ago, where he was just kind of like
Tom King.
Yes, which I thought that was a really good story. I hope, and
one of my favorite books.
I am almost certain that is where it's taking its cues from. It's not going to be the exact story, but it's taking its cues from it. But one of the things they're talking about is that the rumors that he may possibly, or the show may introduce Jocasta, which I don't know a ton about, even though I have read some comics with her. But essentially, she's kind of like the child, or offspring or whatever of Vision. She's an android, humanoid android, in the mold of Vision, but like not Vision as in like the more human like Vision, but like the later. Remember after so in the comics, there was Vision, and he was married to Scarlet Witch, and he was more, but he's still an android, right? But he had Simon Williams brain patterns, like, so she dated him, Simon, and then she dated, and she was with and married to.
You're about
Vision.
to get into this whole drama of Scarlet Witch and Wonder Man, which is like, I'm still disappointed that we're not getting to see that. I wanted that drama to happen.
Well, but the whole thing is that, but then at some point, he is stripped of his Simon Williams personality, part of his personality. He's just a straight up android. And that's the first time I ever encountered him. Because I'm old. Back in the 90s, they had a Avengers video game. It was a beat 'em up, right? And they had white Vision. Like, cause remember, Vision was green and red, and then he became white Vision. And he was really basically just a robot, right? And somehow Wanda still made that work for a little while. I don't know how that happened, but she still made it work. But so he was just and this is
she really tried.
I mean, shit. I look, find love where you can. That's all I say.
I'm not gonna make fun of her. Hey, I am not gonna kink shame her.
If you like it, I love it. So
she got her own thing.
So so this is more like that, but Jocasta was like basically more in line with the more robotic version of it. And I think also she may be part Ultron also. I'm not entirely up on it, but
isn't every android? Honestly.
So this is apparently they're going to try to introduce this character into the into this show, into the MCU because of this show, and you know they're currently filming this right now in London. They are, you know, making this happen. So I don't know. Do you know this character? Are you familiar with it? How do you feel about this?
Yeah, of course, I know her from the comics. Not necessarily like she was very present in some stories and was pretty important character in some stories, but not to the point of being like not like Vision himself.
Hmm.
Uh, this makes sense for her to be there. Although if it takes like some inspirational ideas from the Tom King book, it's entirely different. 'Cause that's the one where Vision had this family and
Hmm.
the dog, and which is I remember when I read it, I felt like it was like Desperate Housewife vibe. Very cool. I loved it a lot, but it was really this vibe. Mm, but I don't remember who said that. I think that it was like supposed to be the third part of the series of shows like WandaVision, then Agatha, and then
Hmm.
Visionquest. And it's natural to assume that it would have something to do with the twins.
Right.
So it would. I don't know why we don't have any like gossip about them showing up here. There. That would be interesting. That would probably make more sense to me because would what's it going to be about? I really don't know. I think that like it would be about Vision, of course, trying to find himself, probably. Mm, but what I would really like to see is his kids actually
Yeah.
trying to find him. That would be interesting. And
Well,
I actually initially thought that it would be heading towards that.
that would be interesting. I and you know who knows? I hadn't heard anything about Billy and Tommy being in it. Um, that would be interesting, but I think that they're going to go down the whole he creates little, you know, a robotic family, and then remember in there they had a son and a daughter, and you know, and a robot
Yeah,
and a
and a
wife
dog.
and a dog. So I think maybe that's where it comes out of. I'm who knows? We have barely heard
Would
anything
be
about this.
depending depending on the genre. Again, you can make it really, really exciting and interesting and very stylish. Or you can make it mediocre. You never
Yeah,
know, I guess.
it would be cool if it was an like if it was kind of because I got the vibe of like the movie Pleasantville from or like
Yeah,
the
but
Stepford
creepier.
Wives, yeah, from the original one, and people
Oh
just
yeah.
or even and there's even a little bit of this the American sitcom from like the '60s, The Monsters, where these guys are clearly you know, Frankenstein and vampire and all that living as they're trying to be a suburban family, and everyone else is like, no, that's not what y'all are monsters. But they treat them, but they're just like, no, we're just going to work and you know, we're just regular old people. It's an interesting idea. I'm interested. I want to see what they're going to do with this. But we've heard literally almost nothing about this. They've done a good job of
Yeah.
keeping this under wraps, which
Or a bad job of promoting it.
well, I mean,
It's either one or the other.
it's they. The thing is that we're probably not going to see this until 2027. More than like it may.
Oof.
It could. I mean, it could be next year, but we'll see. If it's next year, it's going to be late next year. I think. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll let you guys. Hopefully, we'll get more information. We'll let you guys know more about that then. So, our next thing we're going to talk about another rumor, which is who will be the villains in Spider-Man: Brand New Day. Uh, the rumor here is that it's going to be Scorpion, Boomerang, and Tombstone. All which suggests that we're getting a street level. Finally, and after fucking forever, uh, another street level sort of Spider-Man movie. The last street level one we had was sort of mostly was Spider-Man: Homecoming, which dealing with one one bad guy and his little henchman and confined to New York and basically just there, right? It's the last time we saw Spider-Man do anything street level. Everything else after that has been kind of wildly, apocalyptic or ridiculous. So I don't know. I have to say, I like this. If this is real, first of all, this follows up on the Scorpion teaser from Homecoming, which I like. Boomerang is such a fucking D-list villain that I barely know about him. And I've read Spider-Man for a long time. I've been into Spider-Man. I know about him. I barely know about him. And every time you say Boomerang, I just think Captain Boomerang from Suicide Squad. But I know that's not what he is. And then Tombstone is so dope, and we just saw the kind of the origin of him in the Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, where he, he's just starting out, to get his powers and everything. I think Tombstone has, if you've ever read like 90s, 80s, 90s, Spider-Man, Tombstone he's a step down from the fucking Kingpin in terms of giving Spider-Man the business, like just being an absolute menace in the underworld. Unrepentant and cold-blooded killer. He runs a pretty badass, organized crime family. He's respected. Very hard to kill. Very, very hard to kill. So, like, I want to see this. I don't know. How do you feel about these three?
Interesting thing, because it reminds me of two things. First of all, the first time when Spider-Man tried to fight three people at once, it didn't end well in the movie. It ended in Spider-Man 3, which probably a lot of people are calling the greatest movie ever now, but we all know they don't mean it. So again, I always think that it's better to have like less villains at the same time, although Disney does sometimes switch things up, and they can introduce a villain and make them a hero, or like just a character, and give them an arc over several movies. But second thing it reminded me of is Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, which used Scorpion and Tombstone already. And I don't think they're going to do the same thing, because I don't think they're going to take that same arc that is already like pretty well, like both of them are pretty well written and pretty well developed, and adapt them, bring them into the movie, because there is no point in doing that. So I think they're going to go with entirely different villains. But I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't buy it.
I think the thing is that there are so many street level, villains that could be used, that it could be anybody.
Yeah.
Like, I'm still hoping on Mr. Negative. I think Mr. Negative is an awesome kind of like big bad. If you're not going to have the Kingpin, which apparently they're not going, he's doing his thing elsewhere. Mr. Negative is a good, and also, mind you, Mr. Negative will be a replacement for Madame Gao, right? So Madame Gao's not in the picture in Daredevil. That would explain who's running the Chinese, organized crime in New York. Mr. Negative is perfectly suited for that. I think this is believable. But who knows? It's Brand New Day's coming out next year. So we'll see. They should
already next year. I can't believe it.
And they haven't even started filming this. I think it starts filming in another month or two. So they have time to try to figure this out. But I mean, if they're just now figuring out, what are you doing? We'll see.
They've been busy not releasing the trailer for Ironheart. That took a lot of work. Had to actually go around the office telling everyone not to release it.
Somebody was about to like click send, and they were like, "Stop that!
Yeah, no,
don't do that.
no."
All right.
Not yet.
Well, we'll keep an eye on this. We'll see who is finally confirmed as the bad guy. Since you mentioned Ironheart, we gotta talk about this.
Oh yeah.
I am on the record. I've said this many times on this podcast, but Marvel sucks when it comes to creator compensation. They are bad. They are like, at some point now it ceases to be oversight. Now it's intentional. Now you're just assholes. They have a multi-billion-dollar studio making stuff based on IP that was, created by people who got paid peanuts. Let's be honest about that. Nobody got rich writing comics or at Marvel Comics. Nobody got rich drawing comics at.
Well, Rob Liefeld says he did.
Sure, he did
He didn't write anything good
after he got the Image Comics, but like no one got rich as a in the trenches, writer or artist or letterer of any comic book at Marvel Comics. In fact, they actively, and this was a comics industry thing, actively tried to underpay and avoid royalties and residuals, excuse me, and all that. And now, of course, they are exploiting that IP to the tune of billions of dollars. And, Mike, I don't know if I'm saying his name right, Deodato, whatever. I've never said his name right. The artist who co-created Ironheart for Marvel Comics says he didn't get paid anything for the Ironheart, characters who showed up in Wakanda Forever, and who is now has a show. Hadn't got paid anything. Now, mind you, he's probably owed it. This is a 2-part thing with Marvel. They underpay and then they don't pay on time, right? They're supposed to cut checks and send them, right? And they don't do it. And that you have to go to arbitration and shit to get them to actually do what they're contractually obligated to do. Marvel's terrible about this, and people should be talking about it. I mean, I love the MCU and everything like that, but they are demonstrably worse than DC is when it comes to compensation for their artists and writers and creators. They are way worse. What's his name? What's his name that created Thanos and Starlin? Jim Starlin? He said he got paid more for some side character that was barely in, like, I don't remember if it was Justice League or something like that. He got paid more for that than for all the money he ever got paid for creating Gamora and Thanos and Drax. Which is wild because there have been 3 fucking movies specifically with Drax and Gamora. And Thanos was the main big bad of the entire. He showed up in small parts and then a large part in the last 2 Avengers movies. And Drax
the highest grossing movie.
And the highest grossing. And Drax and Gamora have been in damn near every, all the important shit. So it's wild that's he created 3 characters and got paid less for all 3 of their appearances and all those things than one fucking appearance of a small nothing character in something else in DC. Something's wrong at Marvel. I've heard people like
Greed.
They're like, well, that was the contract, and it's legally they're doing the right thing, and I agree. Legally, they're clear. They're not paying them on time is a problem, but legally they're doing what they're allowed. But there's a difference between what's legal and what's right. And I don't believe that I don't think anyone can say that they can't afford to pay these guys. You make literally $1 billion on a fucking movie. You can't write $20,000 to one guy or to an artist and a writer. You can't just say $60,000 out of $1 billion. You can't, and trust me, that 30,000 will look good. They'd be praise hands, right? You can't break them off 50,000 and just move on. I know what's legal, but there's what's right and what's legal aren't always the same thing. And this is ridiculous. I don't care if Ironheart is a complete and utter failure. Y'all spent millions of dollars to make this fucking show. You can't cut a check for 10,000 for this guy and move on? Just to look good. I'm not saying you have to, just to look good. Just to be like, hey, you did something. You're right. The contract says this, but we don't want any bad feelings. Let's make you feel better about it. Anyway. I've had my soapbox. I'm gonna let you take over. What do you think?
No, I agree. Yeah, they making money off it, and while they're not obligated to do that, they really should. It's just a decent thing to do.
Oh, in Hollywood, doing something decent? Ugh, what's that?
Yeah, I know they don't want to do that,
This,
but they should.
I hate this. Marvel, I love Marvel Comics so much and I love their output, but god dang, like to me, now you're being spiteful. Because once again, you made $1 billion, like Deadpool and Wolverine, you made $1 billion plus off of that. I don't love Rob Liefeld, but if you gave him $1 million,
No.
if you gave him $1 million and be like, yo, you know, cool, or who I forget who created who co-created Wolverine, but was it Buscema?
I don't
Whoever
remember.
co-created
I don't remember.
but Claremont, if you gave Claremont and the artist $1 million each, you still have $1 billion. You still have $1 billion. That's it. I'm like, for real. Even if you look, think of all the characters that have been in the Marvel comics. Like, think of who created them, right? So Jack Kirby would get, his estate would get a lot of this money. If you said, I'll give you $1 million, every character, every Marvel Comics character, major, let's say top line character, if they were the star of the movie, give you $1 million for that character, right? How many top line ones have been there? Let's at most you may be out if you said $1 million per character, per top line character. At most you may be out $50 million out of $30+ billion. Y'all can't just write that check and just be like, hey, we do right by our creators, right? We paid everybody else. We do right by our creators. Yeah, we don't have to do this. It's the right thing to do. Whatever happened to people doing right by people because it's the right thing to do? Just because they were in a bad place and they signed a bad contract. Oh, haha, you should just be taken advantage of. That's garbage. That is the problem with this fucking industry. The problem with this world is that people think that taking advantage of someone legally is okay. It's not okay. Like, it's morally reprehensible. And here's the other thing. Soapbox. I feel really strongly about this. You know Peter David, right? The writer. So Peter David has been writing comics and books, but he's been writing comics and books for decades. For decades. He made one of my favorite runs on X Factor. He did like Hulk, like remember Smart Hulk? You remember Joe Fixit Hulk? He'd done a lot of comic stuff, right? He also happens to be American, and in America, we don't have good health insurance. We have shit health insurance, in fact. And also remember, artists and writers, they're not employees, they're contract employees, so they don't have to provide insurance or anything for these people, right? So these guys have been contract employees making all this money and all this content and shit for comic companies. Then they get older and they start having illnesses, and now they got to have GoFundMe's and shit like that. They literally created a whole comic book, creators fund to fund health insurance for these people. Why? Why is that a thing? This man's health insurance bills could be covered by a simple check from Kevin Feige from Disney to be like, hey, you did all this cool stuff for us. There's no reason you should suffer. This man has a GoFundMe. The GoFundMe should be Disney saying, here's $1 million. We want you to get better. Why can't they do that? It's the right thing to do, but it's not profit seeking, and therefore we're not going to do it. That is the trash ass thinking that is a problem with my country in particular, this industry also in particular. Y'all know these people. You could you could call them and be like, man, look, here, let me just help. But they never do it because it's not like they ain't got the money. It's anyway. Okay, God, I hate this shit. I hate it so much.
Yeah, I get that. Definitely get that, but also I think that's the kind of the reason why there are many creators and writers that just don't want to work with Marvel in particular.
Yeah. And it's your reach but when it comes to comics, I honestly think that the days where oh, I got to get on with Marvel so people will know who the hell I am. That's not super important anymore. I mean, it is, but
Yeah.
it isn't. Like you know, and also nowadays, people who work with they get in there, they go in there with better contracts. They're like, nah, we see what money y'all be making. If I make a character and y'all use it, I'm gonna get paid. Don't play with me. So it's only the older people who had for like 20 plus years ago that are really in bad contract situations. I I just want Marvel to just do better. It doesn't cost that much to do right by people. It really doesn't. Like it not considering how much money y'all make, it's not too hard to make these things right. And I wouldn't have to talk about shit like this. So anyway, Marvel, be better. They're not gonna listen to me.
They should though.
So let's move on to talk about Galactus. We've got new images. I saw this a few days ago. Everyone put this up, and I was like, I think it's got to be from a toy or something like that, some kind of toy promotional
Does
item.
look like a toy and does look like a toy that you have to assemble, which is
I
weird. I don't
mean,
know.
why not? You can't really see.
Maybe that's a design which is pretty cool, but it doesn't look that way from what we've seen in the trailer. I don't know. Looks
Yeah,
cool.
this looks like the back of like a toy or something like that, where you look and they're like, "Oh, here's the information about this character and whatever." It's got a little like for all four of them. It's got a little blur, but okay, cool. I know what all of them look like. We saw the trailer. What I'm interested in is this Galactus, and we're getting the big purple suit and the crazy helmet. I think I might get my popcorn. I may get my Galactus popcorn bucket, like you were saying last week. It might happen, but also the artist rendered Ralph Ineson as Galactus properly. So so you can actually see his face and everything. He's got the blue glowing eyes. He's huge. He's got the. And why does everyone have armor that looks like freaking Asgardian armor? I'll keep having to wonder about that. Why is it Asgardian armor?
I don't know if it didn't look that way to me. Honestly, it kind of looked like. Let me pull up
maybe
picture and see it again.
maybe less Asgardian. Maybe more, yeah, maybe less Asgardian. Maybe it's a little more Eternals. Maybe a little more.
Well, kind of Eternals, but which makes sense to be fair.
Because Galactus is meant to be one of the Celestials. So that actually makes sense to me. A little more celestial, less Asgardian. I think he looks cool. I want this action figure. In fact, I want to see what the Marvel Legends is. If the Marvel Legends isn't huge, then I'm like, what are you doing? Make this thing gigantic. He should be bigger than all of the other Marvel Legends figures easily. Looks really and looks comics accurate. So all of you nerds complaining about lack of comics accuracy can shut the hell up, because he clearly is very much like the comics. So I mean, is this going to be the one where they're like, fine, you guys are complaining about this. We're going to do exactly what the comics is. And I don't want to hear any more of your damn, noise and bitching about this, because it's ridiculous. It looks exactly the same. I want him. I want the Watcher to show up too, so the two of them can just kind of like, fist bump or something.
I was gonna say that it has the whole thing, the whole whatever it is. It looks like a action figure indeed. It has a very, very, very Mobius look to it.
Mm-hmm.
Like specifically, it's very noticeable, I think, and in terms of proportions, even the face, it's just it looks like it's very heavily inspired from his art, by his art. The armor looks super cool. The colors, everything. I don't know. It's so exciting. I've been waiting for actually for Galactus to show up as is.
Right.
Perfect, honestly.
Doesn't it look like it's a bit worn, like a little worn by space? Like it looks a little etched in, like they're like the traveling through space and like micrometeorite. It looks like it's a little etched by just like age. It looks aged, but it looks high tech and aged. Kind of
Well,
like
technically, since Galactus was there during the beginning of our universe, it should be aged. It's been a while.
I think he looks great. I'm really looking forward to
Amazing,
how
yeah.
they translate this. So that's cool.
And actually, they all kind of look like 3D printed toys, small 3D printed toys, or but I don't know what it is.
Yeah,
I'm very excited.
I think
I want
they did
this.
a great job. I think they did a great job in realizing, and of course they had great.
If these are toys, I definitely want these toys, all except Reed.
Yeah, and I will say though that does look like a 3D model. It does look like a 3D rendering for something that they're going to use to like make an articulated figure. I'm very excited. This looks cool, and can't wait to see him in action in July. So finally, we're going to talk about Thunderbolts. We both love Thunderbolts. I actually want to go see it again this week if I can help it. And I'm trying to add a little more money into their coffers because they need it. They definitely need it. I was looking at Box Office Mojo, and as of today, so this is as of Tuesday, worldwide gross is $330 million, which, given like it's Rotten Tomatoes, it's pretty good, right? And its audience score is pretty good, and yet $330 million. Sinners is around the same amount, right? Which it's an R-rated original IP movie, and it's about on pace, on the same pace, and it only I think its budget was 90 million. This is more like 150. I think that's about right, 150, which means that in order to break even, to get it's probably about 375 million. It's about where it needs to end up to get in the red. And I don't think it's going to get there. I think I originally said I thought it might get to 400, 450, something like that. I don't think it's going to get there. And that, to me, is one, it's unfortunate because this is a good movie, right? I felt that way about the Marvels too. I like the Marvels, and it didn't. It's the lowest grossing MCU movie. Thunderbolts is going to be the second lowest grossing. It's less than Captain America: Brave New World. Captain America: Brave New World just barely hit profitability, just barely. And I anticipated that also, given the situation with the box office and everything. I was like, it'll be profitable. It's just going to barely get there. It's going to limp across the finish line, if you will. This one's not going to do that. I don't believe it will. And that's, again, it's unfortunate that a movie that's actually good does not live up to its expectations. So the question is, why is this? What is this saying about? Is this MCU fatigue? Is it superhero fatigue? Is it just the box office is just soft? Or is this say something about us as an audience, about what, not just what we want to see, but like, where are we at? What do you think? What's going on? How do you feel about this result?
That's a good question because hard to pinpoint what the issue is. Obviously, there could be several explanations. I think that a big part of it is that they don't, since 2022, they stopped distributing their movies in Russia legally, so they lost a chunk of profit from there. Which is not to say that the movies are not shown there; they still watch them. It's just not. Disney doesn't get any money from that.
Mm-hmm.
So I I think that plays a part, and I don't know what where else they stopped distributing movies, something, but it obviously affects the box office. I don't know what's going on with movies at home though, because it seemed like what's the latest really high grossing Marvel movie? Was it Deadpool and Wolverine?
Yeah, because that was Deadpool and Wolverine, and then Captain America was the one immediately after it, and the
Mm,
movie, I think the MCU movie right before that was the Marvels, and you know what
yeah,
happened with the
maybe.
Marvels, and Quantumania didn't do well.
Hmm.
Uh, I think Quantumania barely got to profitability, maybe barely got to break even. Yeah, and there, I
I
mean,
think
but but
it.
notice what makes bank and what doesn't. Quantumania, starring Ant Man and the Wasp, which are from a trilogy. No, it's a trilogy that traditionally didn't make big money, right? They never made big
Mhm.
money at all. You know, Captain America 4 features, you know, Sam Wilson. So it's his first outing, which is, I will say, as a first outing for Captain America, not bad. You know, not breaking the bank, but it's not bad. The Marvels was based on one character that made a bunch of money, but they didn't call it Captain Marvel 2. They called it the Marvels, right? Which I
Mhm.
think was a mistake. They should have called it Captain Marvel 2, just to be like, hey, remember this. Um, you know, so that did terribly. Shang-Chi did all right for a brand new character. Not great, did all right. And then of course Spider-Man made a bit. So the ones with built-in recognition do great. The ones that, you know, like Eternals, where you don't know who the hell any of these people are, all you know this is a Marvel movie, people feel less inclined or less, like, you know, motivated to go see these characters that they don't know. Which is, look,
Yeah, but regarding this fatigue issue, we'll probably see it better in July.
yeah,
That would be obvious because Fantastic Four is a well-known team, and Superman well-known.
yeah. And if I had to guess, let's just assume Fantastic Four and Superman are excellent. Let's assume they're excellent, right? If they are excellent, they should be $1 billion films. Should be.
Hmm.
If they fall
Hmm.
short, I think superhero fatigue might be actually a real thing that's setting in, because two excellent movies with well-known characters should hit $1 billion. That's it should be easy. Like it should be a given. They make $1 billion. If they may end up at, like, if Superman ends up at 650, 700, that's a disappointment. It should be, even though it'll be profitable, it's not going to be where they expect it. Fantastic Four, they're going to, then both these movies, by the way, they're going to do full court press. They're going to, let's say the budget for Superman is 150. Let's say it's 150. I think it's more than that. Well, let's say it's 150 million. They're going to spend an equal amount on marketing. I guarantee you they'll spend it. So 300 million out the gate, and they need to make, so they're going to have to make 600, 650, 700 million dollars just to make it make sense. Same thing with Fantastic Four. They're going to spend an equal amount of they're going to spend the budget's worth on marketing. So they should be $1 billion films if they're excellent. Um, this movie is really good. Like, is it gonna be like in my top tier in the MCU? No, but I think it's up there for me, in terms of enjoyment. It's up there with, some of the A tier. Low. It's better to me. It's better than Ant Man and the Wasp and Quantumania, and I like both of those. So, and I think it's even better than Captain America: Brave New World. So, like, this there should be better than this. And it's not
The
like
question is, do you think it's better than Craven?
it's it has its moments, but I mean the Kravanovs are undefeated. No, it's better than Craven. Yes. It's
Okay, what about Madam Web?
it's Madam Web once again. Madam Web is trash. So no, it look this bugs me, but like I get it. Look, movies are not a cheap way of passing time. It requires you to go somewhere, and you got to get up and get out of your house and everything like that. You have to go spend $17 for a ticket. It's not cheap, but this is a good time at the movies, and I think what's happening here is lack of character recognition, because this is like, what if the Suicide Squad, but they didn't have like Will Smith, because Will Smith I think drove a lot of people to go see Suicide Squad, the first one.
I mean, technically,
And
Bucky's
so,
a recognizable
well,
character, probably the most recognizable out of the bunch, out of the whole
yeah,
team, because
but not the actor. That's the thing, is this on Suicide Squad, you had Will Smith and you had Margot Robbie, Will Smith being a far more like bankable name, so you could get people's butts in the seat. No, in this one,
yeah, but
you have you have excellent
they
actors.
kind of not the same. But I would argue that Margot Robbie is probably at the same level of fame as Sebastian Stan or Florence Pugh.
Well, at this point, because of Harley Quinn, she's way more known. Harley Quinn was her turn that made her far, and now she's Barbie, of course, too. So if she wants to be,
true.
But like Harley Quinn was her.
But back then, wasn't she just in?
Yeah, she was Sebastian Stan level.
No, she was. I think so. At that point, I just saw her in Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah, she had been in some things, but like she was a bit of a name. But Will Smith was the name, right? He was the name that got people into the theater. In this movie, you don't get that. Like I think Florence Pugh is amazing. Most people don't really know her. I contend.
I don't know. It seems to me that everywhere I see, like all the people I see online are her fans.
Yeah, online.
So it's weird. But again, this
in real life.
I'm
talking in real life, like David Harbour, amazing. Not really well known. Sebastian Stan, lots of people know him, but I don't think he is he's not Tom Cruise. He's not he's not a name. Like you can't put his name up top and be like, oh, let me go see that. Wyatt Russell.
But all the names are probably from the 90s.
Yeah.
So
and to be fair to this movie, Chris Pratt wasn't that guy either. Right? Chris Hemsworth wasn't that guy either. Chris Evans, people knew him. He wasn't that guy either. The whole point was that they could build up to it. That's
any good movies.
Yeah.
At that point.
Well, the thing about this is that maybe the MCU effect is real, in the sense that we judge the sliding scale for how we judge success is so skewed, because the MCU is gigantic and it's made huge stars out of people you didn't know about before, right? Yeah. And these guys need the chance to get that too. This is a starter movie, right? This is a for characters that were either in TV shows or they're side characters. It takes 2 or 3 more movies before you're like, oh, okay, he or she is a huge star, actually, and we know them by name. So this is a good starter movie. The problem is it didn't get filmed for starter movie money, right? Like starter movies are like 75, like Blue Beetle. Think about Blue Beetle. Remember Blue Beetle, which I love. I think it's a great movie. Did not cost them. I think it was $90 million, maybe. I think it was 90 million for a superhero movie with CG like that. That's pretty good, right? So it still didn't make its money back because of the DCU and there's other reasons. But you spend $90 million, you make a movie like that, the threshold for success is lower, and then you can count it as a win and justify going back to the table. In this case, you spend 150 million. Like I said, your break even is like 375 million. And if you can't get to that, they're not gonna make more movies with your character, and that sucks because this movie's good. It's
Besides, the story is not finished, obviously. So.
yeah, and this rolls directly into Doomsday. This goes straight into
Yeah.
Doomsday. Like, and I don't think they're pushing that. Like at this point, I'm like, box office is so soft right now. Y'all need to start spoiling this movie. Like, tell people like, no,
No, they did.
no, they can be like, hey, seriously, take your ass to go see this because it's going to be related to the next Avengers. They need to be like, hey, this is Avengers related. Take your butt to the.
I mean, they did. They did just that with the renaming.
They call it new.
They did, and
that's another. Oh my god, I get not wanting to spoil the story, but calling it Thunderbolts was a mistake. That was.
I don't think it spoils the story. Like when they did the reveal, I don't think it spoiled the story. Well, I kind of liked it from the creative point of view, maybe not from marketing point of view, but I'm not getting paid to market Marvel movies.
Right.
If they paid me, I would probably suggest something different, but they didn't, and I love the surprise.
Right. Oh, I think from a storytelling standpoint, excellent. From a marketing standpoint, terrible. Just terrible. If they called it new,
but people have been complaining about them spoiling things and about them like showing too much in the trailers, which is
you can't win with these people. I think
exactly. And if you don't spoil everything, they want to go to the movie and see the movie. I don't know what to do.
Maybe
they should just have nothing.
There's just no good. There's no good answers. I think I think that you have to roll with what you have, and the twist, the asterisk, was a plot point that only made sense at the end of the movie, right? So you can't call this New Avengers, right? Because if you call it New Avengers, people are going to go into it and be like, "What's happening here?" Right?
Where are the new Avengers?
Yeah, where are the new Avengers? And where's Sam? Because you're going to say, where's Sam Wilson at, right? So you can't call it New Avengers, but if you call it New Avengers, you get butts in the seat. So it's like you can't win at all in this. I think at the end of the day, I think that superhero fatigue is probably. I used to be like, this is not a real thing. I think it's real in the sense that people are not. They are not going to just go to anything now. Right. Even if it says Marvel.
we wouldn't know either way because being fans of this whole thing, we wouldn't know. It would take a random person like who goes to watch the movies and forms their opinions and just goes about their day then.
Right.
Whether would they want to go see it, would they not?
That's
we would never know.
Fortunately, I do get to hear from people in the real world that are not connected to the internet, who they got lives. They're working and they got kids and they like the stuff, but they aren't plugged in. And I get to like sort of talk to them, and be like, hey, are you gonna go see this? And they aren't up on this. I tell them like, hey, go see this. And they're like, oh, okay. When is it on Disney Plus?
Yeah. And they're like, what do I need? Do I need something to watch before?
Yeah.
Because they already don't know. They already
they don't know it. And it's not just the homework aspect. They are just like, they'll show up, maybe, but if it's not like their characters that they know, then they're not going to show. It's just like with comic books. The little side, the X-Men, anything with X-Men will sell. Anything with Iron Man will sell. Anything with, Captain America. But you start bringing up Blade. People know Blade, but they're not going to necessarily, you get these side champions and shit like that. It's less likely that people are going to show up for these things. So in a way,
it's hard to sell a Globe comic book.
Yeah, it's hard because they're not hugely established characters. So I guess in a way I am saying it's the audience's fault. I guess that's my way of saying it is the audience's fault because they are unwilling to show up.
Why don't you like it better?
Yeah, it's not even just that. Why don't you like it better? Why don't you even give it a chance? This is look, like or hate Thunderbolts, whatever. Why don't you even give it a chance? So maybe the thing is
I
they don't like superhero movies so much. They like certain characters, or they want something that's familiar or they
no, I
expect.
think that it's not the whole issue. That I think that the bigger problem is again, and I think I said it before that going to the movie theater is a whole experience that you don't necessarily want to do every
Yeah,
time, and you don't necessarily have time or the finances for.
right.
Sometimes you just prefer to wait till it comes out on streaming
Hmm.
service and
Yeah,
watch that. And it's like for me with DC, I don't think I've ever the only time I actually went to the theater for to watch a DC movie was with the Suicide Squad, the James Gunn's,
hmm,
and now I'm gonna go watch Superman, obviously, but I don't think I ever went to the rest of them. To actually to the theater because I don't particularly like the experience. It's always like too many people. It's I don't have the time or something else. I go to the Marvel movies and some other movies that I think uh, I would actually gain a lot from seeing on the big screen.
right.
But it's not necessarily all Marvel movies,
Yeah,
even
yeah. No,
because
I get that.
even as a big fan, for me it's not necessarily all the movies.
Right. No, I get that. That people have other options and everything. I'm not blaming the audience for what they like. That's I'm. It's more like audiences are unwilling to take a chance, to take a shot, and like they don't feel the need. Like they now movie going is like I have to go there because of whatever. Like Sinners is an event movie. Like it is an event movie. Avengers is an event movie. Like so now it's all events. So even good movies that are
Mhm.
small, that don't need a ton of money to like make to be profitable, they don't even get traction. You know, uh, because of streaming, movie watching is just a home thing, more home thing than it is a movie theater thing, and they've got to figure out how to get people to want to go back to the theater. And by the way, credit to AMC for here in America for being like, look, we got $5 Tuesday, so like Tuesday nights or Tuesdays you can watch a movie for $5 no matter what, right? Cool. They are going to half price Wednesdays now too. So Tuesday night $5, half price tickets on Wednesdays, just to kind of get people to get butts into the seats and make
And they do this popcorn buckets, which is also a great thing to do. Don't do they don't do this everywhere, by the
yeah,
way.
it's
We don't get the beautiful popcorn buckets. I'm really pissed about it because I saw this Stitch popcorn bucket. It's so cool. It's so cute. Uh, so yeah, but these are the things that can actually bring people to the movies.
yeah, it's just got to be because it's expensive and it's it's time out of your. It's got to be people have got to feel they got to really want to have go see your movie. And I think the problem with Thunderbolts is what was they were like, besides it being a Marvel movie, being Marvel is not enough anymore. And I
Yeah.
think this is a result of several years of just fine, movies that are fine or that were good to me but didn't connect with audiences as well. Now it's not a requirement to go see them. Now it's just like maybe. And I think getting back to that point is where Marvel is right now. They're trying to get back to no, we got to go see it because it's a Marvel movie. How do they recapture that magic? If I knew, Feige would be paying me millions of dollars. Shit.
I don't know. There is another thing that they could do. Is do Secret Wars and then just stop making movies for like a whole
People
year
swear
or
that.
a few years.
Well, people are like, man, they should have just ended it after Endgame, and I'm like, yes, you're right. They should stop making movies that make them billions of dollars because you think that that's the end of the story. Get out of here. That's not the. That's never been the way that works.
No,
That
I mean they could take a break like the Fantastic Four did.
they like
The
let's.
comic.
Well, the thing is, the Fantastic Four or are you talking about in the comics or movies?
Yeah, I'm talking about the comics. Like
Yeah.
they disappeared. Like they stopped the whole run after that.
But can you
They
imagine?
came back a few years later.
Yeah. And they did that with
Obviously, the actors will age out of the
Yeah,
roles.
they
by
did
that
Heroes
point.
Reborn. I think the thing is, if so, your choice is to either reboot or move on to new characters, and they're trying to move on with new characters because there's thousands of characters in Marvel Comics.
Yeah.
They're trying that, and they're not quite working. The reboot situation is good, but also because that's the only way you can get Captain America, Steve Rogers back for real, because Chris Evans can't do this forever. So I don't know. I don't know how you fix this, but maybe it's just like superhero films are just gonna go the way of westerns or whatever, where they're still a genre, they're just not a major genre. We don't know. We'll see. But y'all go see Thunderbolts if you haven't. Anyway, I think that's all of our news for the week. It's been a good meandering conversation, but maybe we missed something. Maybe we didn't talk about the things that you wanted us to talk about. You got a comment that you want to say something nice or a troll, or you just want to pop in and say what's up. Whatever the case may be, get down to the comment section, leave your thoughts there. And of course, you can always hit me up, supernotfunnyshow@gmail.com, blurred_force1 on Instagram and Threads, and also super_not_funny show on TikTok. And while you are doing that, get down there and hit like on this video, subscribe to this channel, and hit the notification bell. All that good stuff helps to grow this channel, helps more people to see this podcast and all of the other content that we make on Blurred Force 1. And as usual, I don't like doing this. Do you see me do a solo episode? That was painful. I don't know how I got through that. It's not fun. I need somebody else here with me. Always happy to have Polly here to give her insight and thoughts on these things. So, Polly, where can they reach you on social media?
Same place, same time, core_mixed on Threads, on Instagram, on Tumblr. Not on Fancast.
Yeah. Also, you guys, obviously go and show love, but if you really want to get Polly's attention, tag her into
Say something nasty about Reed Richards.
Or
I always respond to that.
Or alternately, say something praiseworthy of Reed Richards. She will appear.
No.
She will appear like Remick. She will appear like she's like,
with my banjo.
She's gonna appear like Remick, and she will convert you.
I'm a bite you.
If you
I'm not gonna be dancing though.
If you don't understand that reference, you've done yourself a disservice. Go see Sinners.
And then go see it again.
All right, so this has been episode 181 of the Supercast. This has been a good time. Thanks for joining us. Come back next week. We're going to be talking about more of this superhero news. So until then, I've been Mo, your comment extraordinaire on all things pop culture, joined by my friend Polly. And we'll see you guys on the other side of the thread. Peace.